Okay, kids, we got to get out the door here in a second. I think something fascinating is about to happen. I mean, not that it has not been fascinating. Come on, let's get a look at the temperature. So the temperature did go up to the mid-30s here briefly this morning. Look at the waves, look at the snow on the deck, look at the flag just meandering in from the northwest, and look at the radar. Another batch of snow just developing right over our head and increasing rapidly in intensity. So you know what we got to do? Get away from that heater. Get away from this door because we're going to go out the other door downstairs. Show them how tall you are, Steve. Love when we do that. High five, going downstairs. Come on, everybody. We're going to watch it start snowing again. Fascinating day. We're calling the play-by-play on this one. Steve, are you with us? No slacking. Where'd you go? Oh, he likes to go around the couch. It's this game he plays. Come on, Steve. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Come on. You get down those stairs. You get down those stairs. It's like herding cats. All right, I think we're ready now. Thank you. You've been very patient, T-Rex. I know. Let's go. Okay. There he goes out into the snow. There he goes out into the snow. Now, I know that's all wrong up there, although it does say thunderstorm. It is 9:45 on Saturday, January 11th, and the barometer is way down there at 29.45 inches and still falling. It's been a fascinating morning so far, and it's going to get better, more interesting before it gets worse, less interesting. We saw that radar filling in. Now, if you watch your radar, it appears there's a little donut hole over Taunton right there. That's because the radar does not see straight up. And so I've always watched throughout my career, as that donut hole gets smaller and smaller, the snow gets closer to the ground. And it was a case where this morning we had to break through this really dry layer down near the ground. So you can see the snowflakes all of a sudden are getting more numerous. And I'm going to stall a little bit because I think the snow is really going to pick up in intensity again, as it did earlier this morning. What do you see down there? See, we got this fresh snow so we can track. Look at the size of those snowflakes on Steve's back. So those are a ½ inch in diameter, so they accumulate a lot more readily. Even though the temperature here is 35 degrees, it's colder up in the sky, and that's instability. So this is real fun. I love doing this. Not quite live, but close enough, live to tape. So here's the time lapse of the snow coming in early this morning, and it was about 2 hours early compared to what I was thinking yesterday. And it really increased quickly, and the visibility briefly went down below a ½ mile. And when the visibility is below a ½ mile, you accumulate a ½ inch per hour. And then that tanker went by. I came outside and I shot a little video of that tanker going by. And at that point, we had about 3/8 of an inch of snow, which has since probably compacted a little bit. But I'm expecting to at least double that amount by the time the sun goes down today. So let's rewind now and go back to another weak low-pressure system crossing the nation yesterday. It was weak, but looked like a major snowstorm. Guess what? It was a major snowstorm. And snowfall amounts coming out of Oklahoma into Arkansas of 10 to 14 inches of snow in the deep south. And then it held together. The cold air held on long enough yesterday that even in the Atlanta area, especially the northern suburbs, yesterday, 5 inches of snow near Atlanta. So this is another low that missed New England to the south and is going offshore and has very little, if anything, to do with what's happening in New England right now. As that low goes out, let's look at an analysis from early this morning. That weak low going off of the mid-Atlantic states is expected to deepen rapidly to hurricane force. Meantime, these other lows that have also been missing us to the south have developed to hurricane force, and that 964 millibars south of Greenland. Note the arrow pointing up and left, another retrograding storm. But the North Atlantic block is weakening, so this week we're going to see a transition of the weather pattern. And it's really interesting what may happen going into the middle and second half of our winter 24-25. Take a breath. Plane going overhead. That barge that we saw go by over there a few minutes ago has left a wake of diesel fumes I'm inhaling right now. So there's a low-level inversion below an instability layer. Oh, forget trying to explain that. How about the wind? What is the wind? Air moving from high to low pressure. And all week I've been complaining about the wind and what it was on Mount Washington. Well, check this out. At 8 o'clock this morning, the wind speed on the summit of Mount Washington after a week of 100 miles per hour was 0 miles per hour. It was calm on Mount Washington at 8 o'clock this morning. And look at that sort of isothermal profile in the temperature. A little colder at the base, warmer mid-level, colder aloft. And it's a real dynamic situation, what's happening in eastern New England, most specifically southeastern New England from Cape Cod to Cape Ann. I want to show first the wider temperatures this morning, not too cold, just right really, in the teens and 20s, but it was a little warmer over near Block Island and Nantucket. Now I want to close into eastern Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire this morning at just about 8 o'clock, and this is what really got me going with the wind from the southwest over Nantucket Sound, from the east of Boston, and from the north along the Merrimack River Valley and into Worcester. That is convergence. What's happening over eastern Massachusetts right now is cyclogenesis. It doesn't even show up on the analysis. Look at the surface analysis from this morning at 5 a.m. You see 1,007 millibar high pressure system in Maine, 1,007 high pressure system south of New England, north of the ocean storm. So there's a disconnect from the ocean storm. But what is wind? Air moving from high to low. So the air over Boston is coming, the air over southern Maine is pushing south, and the air over Cape Cod is pushing north, and it's meeting over Boston. So the air over Boston is going up, and rising air is what makes precipitation. And if you've got enough moisture, hello, there's the ocean right there with the wind from the east at the Boston buoy. And you've got convergence and you've got cold air aloft, which we do. The temperature here on the ground at my house, let's go check that, by the way. See if we see any more tracks. What kind of tracks are those? Bunny rabbit tracks? Something that came to a skid right there. Oh, there's my measuring device, by the way. And this is going to become the new ice bucket. I was dumb using that one over there as an ice bucket. Oh, look, something tried to go skating. Something's looking for water this morning, I think. And so, yeah, I changed the subject here. Good packing snow right now, but it was fluffy when it came down. It is going to be fluffy again. And it's just warm enough. Look at that. It sticks right to this ruler. It's just warm enough that it's not sticking to the roads. Here in the Weymouth area, but you move inland. And, yeah, speaking of inland, Pete in Gloucester, well, that's not inland, is it? But he had an accident happening near his house already this morning. And then Alex, this is inland comparatively. Alex sharing a picture of his dog Jackson. This morning they were out playing between 7 and 8, and look how much snow accumulated on Jackson. That's so fun. And while I'm here, I will measure the snow. So it's actually shrunk a little bit. We went from 3/8 to 1/4. So this is the new ice bucket. I'm so sorry that I lost all that water from Thanksgiving. And these are T-Rex tracks and TK in his pajamas and sneakers. I just was going to come down here to check the temperature. Right. So it is 33 degrees. Come on, get the angle. There it is. There's the angle. 0 degrees Celsius. Just about 33 degrees. And here's how much snow is in there. That looks more like a ½ inch of snow, doesn't it? As I've always said, snowfall accumulations are subjective, and we like to measure it on Steve. Like, how high does it go on Steve? Getting more intense as we go here. I think we're going to get it up over his paws before we're done here today. Roses. Let's go to the NAM. I'm going to go with the 3 kilometer NAM because I think it's been doing a good job. I don't think any of the global models did a good job. NAM. Blue is snow. There's some green over the near Cape Cod, but that's going to change to blue. Green is rain. And there's the timing. In the upper left, I just assume everyone knows these timings now. 16Z, that's 16 minus 5 is 11 a.m. and 17Z, that's noon. And there's a lull in the activity. And then 18Z, 1, 2 o'clock, there's a little hole in the snow. Then 3, 4 o'clock, the sun is going down. And note the blue over Cape Ann is getting a little bit more dark and over the coast of Maine and shifting to the south. And then the back edge actually does not go off of Boston till about 6 or 7 o'clock. And it does go down to Cape Cod for a quick coating of snow. And the Maine mid-coast ends up snowing through the evening. So it's a very sort of mesoscale event. That means it's not a widespread, evenly distributed snowfall. And if we go to the accumulation using the NAM from the midnight run, and you can see a lot of New England getting at least a little snow. The exception would be far northern Maine. And is the coast of Connecticut in on this? I can't really remember. But as the light blue shows up, that's about an inch. And then it gets a little darker, that's 2. And then the darkest blue, it's about 4 inches of snow. And the candidates for that are the spine of the Green Mountains, the Mount Washington area, and eastern Massachusetts, especially Cape Ann, and very close to my house. It looks like about 3 inches of snow possible here, which would definitely be an overachiever. And it does not make the GFS correct because that storm is completely missing us out to sea. And the Euro didn't do that great a job, although it did have a little bit of snow. It was only the real short-range models that saw this. And I think we are just getting started on what turns into a much more intense winter than any of us had thought was going to happen. Look at this wide shot. Did I even show this one yet of the storms that have gone by? I think I showed the surface analysis, but here's the wide shot of the satellite. And you can't even really make out what's going over Boston, but you make out that big storm south of Greenland, another one in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's snowing. It's been snowing in northwestern Europe and the UK much of the season so far. And then this one going off of the southeastern United States is going to intensify into hurricane force. Okay, yeah, let's look at the Euro now, day by day and play by play. Storm missing us to the south. You can't even really make out this weak little low pressure system, although 996 is no slouch over Boston, pulling out. Looks more like a surface trough, doesn't it? And then tomorrow, very few isobars again, so what a weekend for skiing. A timeout. Speaking of skiing, the Flyer opened at Jay Peak for the first time this week, and this morning, that was the line at Jay Peak, because of all the snow that fell at Jay. So far this year, I think we're passing about 30 inches in the lee of the mountain. It was not an even distribution. Okay, let's go back. Speaking of Jay, now we have a low pressure system coming into the Great Lakes on Tuesday, and we have warm air advection ahead of that. And that's another reason to make it snow in northern New England with the light blue there. And then there's a new polar vortex. It looks stronger and deeper than the last one. This one's centered over Lake Superior on Tuesday into Wednesday. You see the 504 thickness, and you have all those isobars tightening up with weak low pressure systems and waves of energy coming across New England Tuesday night and Wednesday. And still that chance for a Norland trough, although it's not as distinct. I'll have to talk more about that as it gets closer if it occurs. But it's going to get a lot more cold and windy here with snow showers and snow squalls Wednesday into Thursday. And that's moving very quickly. And then there's going to be another low going across central Canada. And that tries to push warmer air in our direction. But it's already so cold. There's another boundary and another reason to make it snow with a little clipper here on about Friday or Saturday next weekend. Now it starts getting warmer again. Look at the storms going across north central Canada, but there's a lot of cold left in its wake, so something's going to have to give there. It shows storms missing New England to the south next Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I can almost absolutely say that is not right, although whenever you say almost and absolutely, it ends up being right. But we are on the boundary, and I'm stopping it now on that day that I've been talking about for a long time, January 20th. And that's a Monday, right? At 7 p.m. on Monday. And it shows just wall-to-wall cold across almost all of North America with a front across southeastern United States and very little in the way of storminess. But there is a major boundary there, and all that set up at the upper levels and the surface says to me there are going to be multiple storms coming our way beginning late, probably next weekend and into the following week, and for who knows how long. If you look at these numbers, we talked about it about a month ago, how the thickness lines, the lower the number and the blue lines, the colder the air. You have to be about 540 decameters that's from the ground up to 500 millibars. It's measured in decameters. 534. Now you're all cold enough for snow. 528. That's getting cold. And then down to 522. Now you're talking wintry cold. And then you get down to 516, then 510, then 504. Now you're in pure Arctic air. And then it keeps on going. 498, 492. 486. We said that can't be real. We talked about that about 6 weeks ago. Would that ever happen? And then now I see 480. That is off the charts, almost record cold across most of north central Canada on our side of the world with that southeastern United States ridge. Just incredible setup. And again, I'm going to say I remember what happened 10 years ago this month. And I think there's a slight chance something like that is going to happen again this year. All right, we're at 14 minutes here. T-Rex is waiting by the door patiently, and the snowflakes have become closer together, and I think we are going to get probably about 2.5, 3 inches of snow in our yard here in Weymouth. That's my call. So I'd like to take a second here and just acknowledge a couple of people that were relevant in my world who have passed away recently. Jack Driscoll, affectionately known as Poppy to everyone in the family, lost his wife way too early, raised his family in Waltham, then relocated. I think most of them are on Cape Cod. My godson, William, is his grandson. Rest in peace, Poppy. Long, rich life. And also Steve Boyson, another high water mark for humanity in the town of Dennis. Steve being laid to rest today. Just a great soul, giving man, and great spirit. And two people, heaven gains a lot more love, and we have our hearts thinking of them. Okay, I hear some dripping coming off the roof, so we're going to get colder, and it's going to snow harder this afternoon, and more. I'm going to leave you with the hootin' and hollerin'. Now, this is from northern Vermont, Josh and Vec. Vec, what happened to your board yesterday? Taking it to another level. Sean Vecchione, he likes to ride it hard, sometimes too hard. And Josh just gets so excited. He gets so down when it's not snowing and so up when it is snowing. And I'd love to share what you have to say here, but you got the music cranking and I get a copyright infringement. All he's saying is, wow, wow, wow. That's the main street in Montgomery, Vermont. He says these snowbanks look like what they look like often in March. So the snowfall amounts in northern Vermont have been fickle, but he has the ground truth. And we will leave you with some hootin' and hollerin' from Josh. Up in the high country, back country of northern Vermont over the last couple days, and also a time lapse of, I think, yesterday over the Bass River House, where Fallon's Pond is now frozen, and it seems like every time we get good ice, it starts to snow on the ice. Oh yes, I wanted to show this image from Rob Wright at Lakes Wentworth and Winnipesaukee yesterday as the sun went down. Perfect ice boating, the best ice boating we've had in years, and ice skating. And what I was going to say is that every time we get good ice around here, it seems like it snows on it and kind of messes it up. So I think I might find some safe ice and start shoveling that today, and that'll be in tomorrow's and more. But for today, northern Vermont and Bass River. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Talk to you in 24 hours.
Oh!